GO Transit is commonly known for being a transit agency, serving commuters daily in the Greater Toronto Area, primarily with trains. However, during the 1980s, it wasn't unheard of to see their locomotives from the commuter agency on, of all things, freight trains. During the late 70s and 80s, Canadian Pacific was suffering from a power shortage in eastern Canada. The railway was just trying to get their hands on whatever motive power that was available from different companies. And oh boy, there were some wild choices here. Meanwhile, back on GO Transit, things were going smoothly with service expansions and mostly new equipment. Back then, GO train service would run specifically on weekdays, with all train sets returning back to the yards and remaining idle for the weekend. Canadian Pacific saw this as an opportunity for motive power, and an agreement was made with the CPR and GO to lease out their passenger locomotives for use on their freight trains. The operations of this lease allowed for Canadian Pacific to get the GO units on Friday evening when they finished their commuter runs, with the GO units being assigned on freight trains out of Toronto and used as far west as Windsor and as far east as Montreal on weekends. Just so long as they were returned back to GO just in time for the morning rush hour on Monday, so that way GO didn't have to call up CPR in a raging fit.
Hello, this is the Canadian Pacific Toronto Operating Division. How can I help you?
This is Associate of GO Transit. We were looking over the locomotives we returned back on Sunday night, and two of them are missing.
Oh, which ones would they be?
Quit playing with shit and just give us back our f***ing GP40s. Where the f*** did you send our GP40s to?
I think they're trapped in Alberta right now.
I'm sorry, what?
Look,
You told us to send them out Toronto and send them all to the west. What the f*** is wrong?
For those curious on motive power, the CPR would lease out GO's GP40S2Ws, GP40TCs, F40PHs, and later GP40M. Shut the fuck up, which were second-hand EMDs that originally hailed from the Rock Island. A fun fact about these GP40s was that they were usually paired up with aging F units due to their lack of head-end power, so it wasn't unheard of to see them with the elder cab units a lot of the time. These locomotives were usually paired in duos, triplets, or quad sets, sometimes with fellow CPR locomotives just in case. They were commonly spotted around eastern Canada, with some alleged spottings as far as Alberta and Saskatchewan, and even one documented case in the United States when GP40M number 724 was spotted in the Chicago area around April 1991, more than likely still on lease. And speaking of that year, it was around that time that GO began standardizing its roster with a large order of EMD F59PHs, which came at the cost of many of these leasing agreements coming to an end between the two companies. Many of the locomotives that were leased over were retired, and many passed over onto new owners, some of which are still in active service today. And I'll just showcase some examples here, because why not? Today, Canadian Pacific's main lines in eastern Canada still see the odd sight of borrowed power, but the sight of GO units still happens on commuter trains that share some trackage rights in select areas. Just don't expect them to be hauling freight. Whatever the case, they still provided an interesting splash of color during the most desperate time for Canadian Pacific.